Well, a certain young man's pulled that one out of the bag, hasn't he? I never saw that one before. Well done. Listen, a very warm welcome to everybody to our Monday night's Not Just Crew special edition with Leanne Milburn-Turner. Now, we have her on the show. We're going to be bringing her in very shortly. But obviously, this production is brought to you with Care Skills Pro, who are our sponsors at the moment. So that sounds all very professional, doesn't it? So, along with me, you'll be pleased to know we have Trevor Jenkins, who is producing the show as well. So, without further ado, let's just get on with it and cue those titles, Trev.
Not Just Crew has been internationally inspired by you.
What can we say about tonight's guest? I'm going to just say it. She's a northerner. She was born up in the northeast of England from Northumberland. She happened to move back down to the Ipswich area, family reasons, but she's still a northerner, Anik/Shilbottle. So a very warm welcome to the show, Leanne. Bring her in, Trevor. Bring Leanne. Let's see her. There she is.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No, you're very welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on this evening's show. I'd just like to say, it was about 3 weeks ago, we saw the post that popped in our group of your journey, of what you've been up to regarding the Ipswich Dog Trainer. Is that actually your full title now?
Yep, that's the name of the business.
The Ipswich Dog Trainer, loving it. So obviously the journey that you've been on from flying, where you were at Easyjet for 14 years, bringing you up to present day. Unfortunately, you were made
redundant. Yep.
Yep, as so many of our members unfortunately have done, or furloughed if they were lucky enough to be furloughed, but unfortunately made redundant. But that hasn't slowed you down. It's not stopped you. You've kind of like just pursued the passions that you were already doing anyway with the puppy world, the doggy world. And it's basically, I'll say it in your words, to give you the kick up the arse to kind of like move forward, use all those amazing skills that you got through your journey with flying, and to be able to get to this point that you are now. So well done to you. So I want to basically ask you, firstly, tell us about your journey. What first got you into travel with Easyjet? What kind of like attracted you to that career? And what kind of skills did you get? I know it's kind of, it can be a long process, but like, I want to know the juicy stories, the things you enjoyed the most, and what kind of like the skills that you found you got to get to where you are now.
So it's one of them typical cheesy cliche things where it was my dream job when I was little. So when we moved down from Northumberland to Ipswich, my dad then got sent to work in Cyprus. So we flew over there and lived there for a few years. And I can remember being on the plane, flying over there, looking at the crew, thinking, oh my God, this must be an amazing job because you get to see the world and all of that. And it's something that I never really sort of pursued. Lived in Mallorca for a couple of years, working as a holiday rep over there, and then running bars too. So I got to still live abroad. And then when I come back, I was in a bit of limbo, didn't really know what to do, in a bit of a dead end job working in a bar. And then I saw that Easyjet were advertised, and I was like, right, now's my time to try and do it. And then, well, I was on a hen do in Malaga when I got the phone call to say I got the job.
Oh,
and
brilliant!
Then, never really looked back from there.
I bet you just retired back to your room and had a nice bottle of wine and you know, put local Spanish TV on and just had a little night in. Yeah, I bet you were absolutely buzzing after you got that news.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, really, really good. It kind of topped off the weekend, and then like I said, never really looked back after that. The first 6 months flying, I found really hard because you're flying with different people all the time, and I found it a little bit lonely. But then I was like, actually, I've wanted to do this for such a long time. Just keep going and keep going. And then after 14 years, I was still there. So after them first 6 months, I obviously loved it.
But you weren't just cabin crew, were you? You actually went into training. How many years were you in training for?
So, what, with the dog training or?
No, with Easyjet.
Oh no, I wasn't. So I wasn't a trainer with Easyjet. So I did. I was cabin manager with Easyjet, but I did a bit of stuff at head office as well. So I used to help the leave department and the rostering department. So I was back and forward to Luton sometimes too. So I had a bit of both, like the best of both worlds, flying the majority of the time, but then sometimes doing a bit of office space work.
Was it throughout your flying career? Was there any points during that you actually thought enough's enough? I think I'm going to move on. I'm going to start actively seeking other employment, or were you kind of like was that you going to be set for the rest of your days flying?
1 or 2 night flights to destinations like Ibiza. I'd had over the years a couple of them where I got home and I'd like 5, 6 in the morning. I'd be like, I literally can't do this anymore. It's killing me.
Is this where your skills as a dog trainer kicked in because you you were on those flights?
Yeah, just get the muzzles out.
I heard that about you, Anik women. Yeah, they like the muzzles. I can imagine. Yeah.
But the good thing about flying is you have a really, really, really rubbish day, and you know the next day is going to be different. So we were really lucky at Stansted. We all know each other, so everyone got on really well. But if there was someone you didn't get on with, you wouldn't be seeing them for ages anyway. The passengers, they'd all be different. And luckily, the nice ones always outweighed the bad ones.
Yeah. I guess like Easyjet's journey, I mean, I remember from the very beginnings, I mean, probably like yourself, I used to watch all the shows, you know, airline, airport, you know, Easyjet and like, you know, they only had a few routes kind of thing, flying out to Stansted, because that was the first base that it originated from, wasn't it, Stansted?
It was Luton that it started from.
Sorry, Luton. But I mean, like, and just the growth, because I didn't really think, you know, that Easyjet would last very long, to be fair. But hats off to the management and Stelios. They absolutely did a brilliant job, and they kept the same like kind of like ethos as what kind of Virgin had, I guess, because it was very family orientated. They kept everything close knit, and everyone was together. And I always got that feel that like Easyjet had the same as what Virgin was going on. You know, they were proud to work for the airline. It was ever growing. I mean, you started flying everywhere. You just had these small few routes here and there. Then, blimey, Easyjet were like, next thing you know, they were coming out of Newcastle and they were flying all over the place. And you had so many routes. And, you know, I think Stelios and Richard Branson must have had a close relationship, because I was on a few flights where Stelios would be on. And I've never seen anybody eat as much as what I have on the flights when he was sitting there in upper. He kept you busy, you know. Even if he was the only one sitting in upper class, you would be rushed off your feet. He had an appetite, let's say. But like, you know, Easyjet, you know, I mean, thank goodness it's still going. You know, it's one of the airlines that has survived. But yeah, I mean, kind of things happened, you know. Things change, and you moved on. So while you were flying, what was your involvement with that doggy world?
So, as well as wanting to be cabin crew, I always wanted to work with animals as well. And originally, as well as crew, I wanted to work as a vet, and I haven't got the brains to work as a vet, so that was definitely not going to work. So me and my husband got a dog a few years ago, and we were told he was friendly and this, that and the other, and it turned out he had quite a few issues, and we paid a trainer to come and help him, but the advice she gave was really old advice, and we ended up making him worse. And I thought, well, rather than paying someone hundreds of pounds to come around my house and make my dog worse, I'll do a few courses myself so I can help him. And then it just ended up spiraling into a career. I ended up volunteering, helping another woman called Leanne at Dog Training College with puppy courses and things like that, while I was putting myself through some more studying. And then, ended up starting my own business last year when I knew that I was going to end up being made redundant.
But like, I mean, it sounds so simple, doesn't it? I'm going to start my own business, and
It's so hard, so
yeah.
hard.
I mean, like, it's like I'll just start my own business. There you go. I'll just write something down here. Yeah, the boom business. There you go. I'm up and running. But like you say, it's so hard. Did you not find that quite daunting, or did you have any help or support or someone to turn to in that regards?
I think so. When I knew I was probably facing redundancy, I really needed something to focus on. So when we went through redundancy last year, me and my husband also lost another baby as well. And I just needed something to focus on. So I literally threw all of my energy into starting the business. And I think if I didn't have all of that going on in the background, I'd have probably still been meandering about it now. But everything that I had behind me just was all right, focus on this, because you can't control anything else that's going on in the world. This is the one thing you can control. And yeah, but it is hard work, really hard work. Sometimes I'm sat replying to emails at 11 o'clock at night. But if I don't do it, no one else is going to.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, and I guess, I mean, because you've got a little one as well, haven't you? And one on the way, so congratulations. So like, I can only imagine like how tiring it must be. But listen, you're doing a fantastic job, I mean, like, just to go from what you've had to face with, like losing your job, to kind of like just pushing forward, you've got to be dead proud of you. I mean, I'm sure you are anyway, and your family are. And like, I know everybody at Not Just Crew are, because when we read your story, it was such a wonderful story. And so many people like jumped on the back of it to like, because we love success stories, and what your journey, cliche, what your journey is showing people, like so many of the other people in the group's journey, is that it's not the end of the world kind of thing, and there is other things you can do. And if you do have a passion, and it's something you want to pursue, then why not give it a go? I mean, didn't stop you. You went for it. You know what I mean? And you're doing it. And I'm taking it. The business is doing really well. Yeah.
Yeah, really, like so much better than I thought it was going to. And I'm at the point now where I can actually turn down business. At the beginning, you have to take absolutely everything you can. Don't need to keep going. But I'm getting recommendations from people coming in left, right, and centre. And I've won an award pretty much straight away, and I'm up for another award. I'll find out in the next month about that. But all of this kind of stuff just adds towards like being out there and ranking on Google and things like that. I'd never even heard of any of that until I got my own business. But getting yourself out there just makes a massive difference, and it's literally taken off. I'm working a lot more than I would have liked, but then when I come back after maternity, I can reduce that down a little bit. And the good thing about having my own business, I haven't got the roster gods telling me what I can and can't do. I can choose my hours, which family-wise works really well at the moment.
Do you think you'll ever get to a point where you might need and have staff working for you? You know what I mean? I mean, something you probably wouldn't have thought of like a few months ago, but you might have to.
Yeah, it's something that I have thought about, but it's got to be the right person, because with dog training, there's so much conflicting advice that you can give to the owners. So I'd want to know whoever's working under me has the exact same ethos, because it's my reputation that I've worked up that could just be gone straight away.
Right, listen, I'm going to bring Trev in because I'm sure Trev's got a few questions. I've got a few more to ask you, actually, but I want to give Trev, poor little Trev, get an opportunity in there, guys. Otherwise, he will get rather upset.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I haven't even finished Under the Sunbed yet. Oh, you just caught me out there. Apologies for the red. It was a lot sunnier in London than I expected. We haven't seen sun all winter. Yeah, what an amazing story. And I've got a few questions. So I've set up a couple of businesses myself. How much did you find the admin took over the pleasure of running the business? Because the reason I ask that, so many people are going to want to start a business. You think, great, I've got this idea. All effort goes in, then all of a sudden these letters come in, accounts come in. How much did you find that a distraction?
Oh God, massively, absolutely massively. Now, I mean, you've said about the accounts, because I only started last year, I haven't had to do the tax year yet, but that's
Oh, you
coming
will.
it's coming at the end of April, and I'm dreading it. I've literally got a box of receipts and loads of emails just sat there, just looking at me. But that admin side of it's massive. It's silly little things like I built my own website because I just wanted the satisfaction of doing it, but it's keeping on top of stuff like that. I do a lot of advertising through Facebook, so it's constantly being on Facebook and putting yourself out there, and it is a 7-day-a-week job, that admin stuff.
And
Totally.
have you found a sort of, and you've got to be honest here, because I say so many people sort of look to us to bring people in, guests like yourself. Has it taken any of the excitement out of it? Staying on top of it. No, you got it. Say,
There's a lot of puffing of the cheeks going on here, Leanne. You're like,
I'm just trying to think how to word it properly.
No swearing on it.
So at the very beginning it really did, because I just didn't have a system at all. I've never ever worked in admin, and I never wanted to work in admin. But now I've got a system and I've got my head around everything, and I pay for like certain platforms like Jotform and this, that, and the other, and Square, that just do everything for me really easily. So it just makes life a lot better. But to start with, I literally went in blind and didn't have a clue what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. So look, tell us, right, day one of your business, you sat down on your desk, or not necessarily sat down on your desk. You're probably trained. How did you go about getting your first customers?
So I put myself on all the local Facebook groups, all the community groups, and just put myself out there like that. And a lot of friends shared me and recommended me to other people, and that's what ended up getting my first lot of business. And there's a company called bark.com. You can pay for leads through that, so I had to start and do that.
Pay for leads?
Yeah, but pay
That's
for
not
leads.
a pun. It's not a pun, is it?
It's not meant to be.
God, is that all you got?
but yeah, so I had to do that at the beginning. But also, because I've worked with Dog Training College for quite a few years as well, that I'm an approved instructor with them, so I get a bit of business through them too. So it's just little things like that. But now a lot of it is recommendations.
Yeah. And so how long running your own business? To say this question is sort of split into two. Firstly, running your own business, how many hours a day is that? And secondly, in the business dog training, how many hours does that take up? Would you say? So
today I've done 4 hours training, so a couple of hours with clients on Zoom, and then I went out and met a client one-to-one. When I get off the call to you, I've got emails that I've got to reply to, because I've now got to the point where I refuse to work on a Sunday, because I was doing that all the time. It was ruining my weekend. But I'll probably be sat on my laptop till about 10:30, 11 tonight, doing the admin side of it, catching up on things.
Yeah. Wow. And what's the dog training community like? Were you welcomed into that community because you'd been sort of cabin crew, or were you welcomed with open arms?
Yeah, I think because I've done the stuff with Dog Training College and I met a lot of people with them, so I went to seminars and things like that and got to know dog trainers through that. And to be honest, I'm a senior instructor with Dog Training College.
Oh, wow.
And everyone that they're kind of, the dog trainers underneath them are all really nice, and it's a really nice community and everyone gets on really well. I just wouldn't want to be in any kind of community that isn't, because with crew we all have to get on, don't we? And we all kind of
very quickly.
We have to be there to save each other's lives. So if I'd have gone from that to a job that wasn't so welcoming and friendly, I think I'd have probably struggled. But luckily, I've been quite lucky with this.
Well, we'll bring this on to that. And we often talk about this program. It seems to be a buzzword: transferable skills. What do you think you bring to that industry as ex-crew?
Oh God, people skills massively. One of the clients that I met today, they're really struggling, and I've had people in tears on the phone, on Zoom calls. Well, I've had to work via Zoom until recently, but yeah, people just in tears, and you kind of like a bit of a counsellor, which you do when you crew, don't you? You either counsel another crew sometimes, or you counsel passengers for whatever issues they've got.
Very much so.
But speaking in front of people as well. So when I was teaching puppy classes, being able to stand in front of them and just be kind of friendly and personable, but also first aid. When we could do events actually in community halls and places like that, you'd always have to have a first aid person, couldn't you? And you don't always have one in the audience. So knowing that cabin crew, we're more than first aid trained, aren't we? So knowing that I had that as well was something extra that I could add into it too.
Yeah, and so I may have missed the first part of this, as you know, because I was on the sunbed. Do you train the dogs together, or is it literally sort of one to one?
So it's one-to-one at the moment. I was doing puppy classes with Dog Training College a few years ago, but at the moment it's one-to-one because classes just can't go on with the whole COVID restrictions. And then last summer they could have started again, but because of everything just being up and down, rather than messing people about, I was just like, I'm not going to do it. But I'm hoping when I come back from maternity, everything's settled down a little bit and I'll start classes up again.
Yeah. Oh, talking of maternity, congratulations, by the way, as well. Is your business going to carry on while you're on maternity? I know you say you're going to drop out. Have you got somebody who can take care of it for you?
So what I'm planning on doing is just scheduling loads of posts. So I'm going to finish for maternity at the beginning of May, and the baby's due at the beginning of June. So that gives me a month to kind of schedule blogs and schedule Facebook posts. And I'm going to be sending questionnaires out to clients that I've already got saying, what do you want me to do in future? I've got a course at the moment to do with separation anxiety that I desperately want to finish. So even though I'm not going to be really replying, I'll be dipping in and out of emails, but I won't be training, but I'm still going to be visible because I don't want to spend the past year working really hard to get my business up and then for it all just to go straight back down again.
Yeah, wow. And I was going to say, and it's not necessarily a crew-related one, but you've seen in the news, you've heard it yourself. Firstly, so many more people are buying dogs during this, and so many are being stolen as well, which is I've never known anything like it.
No.
What would you say would be the perfect breed for somebody with a young family like yourselves?
Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
Yeah, they're known as the nanny dogs from what I remember. Yeah, absolutely. And do you think, before you go into the next, because I asked you two there, you mentioned separation anxiety. Now, so many dogs and puppies have been used to everyone being in. How much of an issue is that going to be once the world goes back to normal?
Massive. It's a massive problem now. So every single puppy course that I do, I mention it now on every single lesson, and even the one-to-one training, I'm mentioning it to people. Dogs that had never, ever had separation anxiety issues in the past have got so used to their owners being there now that they're now displaying problems, and these are older dogs. So I keep saying to people, even though you can't go and travel at the moment, you can't really go outside your village, but even if you go and sit in your car for 5 minutes and just do something like that, or just take a wander to the shops, because people aren't getting that up on it, and it can manifest into a massive problem really, really easily, and it's a nightmare to sort out sometimes.
Is there any one tip you could, because I know a few crew I've sort of spoken to that they have bought a puppy since then. Is there any one tip you can think of that could help them?
What, in regards to separation anxiety?
Yeah.
So just slowly build up the time that you're leaving your dog. A lot of people, they're leaving their dogs with food and things like that, thinking that the dog will have a good association, but that's fine for the 20 minutes the bit of food works. But as soon as that 20 minutes is over, they realise their owner's gone. So you're just delaying the issue. So start off leaving them a couple of minutes, then a couple more minutes, and gradually build it up. And set, like, a lot of people think they need to buy these expensive Furbo cameras that are like £300. You could just set your laptop or tablet up and do a Zoom call and watch it on your phone and just see how your dog's acting while you're sat out in your car.
And you know, because Zoom obviously it's a two-way conversation. Would you recommend calling out to the dog if you're not there so they can hear you, or not?
No, because it will just confuse them. It'll just confuse them. They just need to get used to being on their own. But if it's a really big issue, you just have to start off with little steps and build it up and build it up. It can be sorted. It just depends on how big the issue is.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. chomping at the bit, are you, Trev? Chomping at the bit. I can't get a word in.
I've got to go back on the sunbed in a minute. So
I'll put you in a toasting machine in a minute if you don't wind your neck in. Right, I've got some really intelligent questions here. You ready? I want one-word answers. Right. Stupidest dog breed.
Stupidest dog breed.
Scooby-Doo.
Don't say a northerner.
Probably Labrador. I'm gonna get
They're
shot.
cute,
I'm gonna
They're
get
so
shot
cute.
for saying
No, they're
that.
cute,
They
though.
are lovely, but they're just a bit kind of silly sometimes.
Labrador. Right. Most intelligent.
I would say, my personal opinion, you're probably looking at Springer Spaniel, some form of Spaniel.
Well, English or Welsh?
Stop it.
I'm not starting an argument between the Welsh and the English because one of my best friends is Welsh.
What about because I've got a cockapoo, right? And it's like it's so lazy. It's lazy. It just wants to like. Luckily, I know they're not meant to be like that. I
was going to say, are you sure it's a cockapoo?
Like the wife, right, went to like, but she was doing all the research and all that. So we wanted a dog to kind of match our lifestyle. So when she went to see the litter, she deliberately looked for the one that wasn't doing anything, just lolling around and kind of like chilled out. And the breeder was calling her like dopey bear. She used to call it dopey bear. So we've got that, and it's so lazy. It's great because it just we like to lounge around and relax on days off, and so does Bear. You know what I mean? So it's like it's fantastic.
It fits your lifestyle perfect.
Yeah. Excellent.
Cockapoos are the most common breed at the moment. Everyone wants them because you've got the good things from the Cocker Spaniel and the good things from the Poodle. But I would say about 70% of my clients are Cockapoos, because they're so popular at the moment. And I've never, ever met a lazy one, ever.
Yeah, ours is. It's great. I love it. Have you ever been bitten?
No, I haven't. not yet.
No.
Not by a dog.
What about when you were at EasyJet?
Yeah, that might be that Ibiza that I was talking about.
Where's your husband at the moment? He's not round your ankles now, is he?
I think he's wrestling with my son because I'm surprised you can't hear him screaming in the background.
No.
Modern technology, we can filter that out.
Blank it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got one more question, but I didn't want to butt in. Right, that'll be the last question from me because I'll go to half an hour. The fact that dogs are being stolen at the moment, how important is it to get your dog chipped at the vet?
Well, it's the law now.
Oh, is it the law?
Yeah, it's been the law for a few years. You shouldn't be getting a dog that's not microchipped now. Mm-hmm. But it's also important to keep them microchip details up to date. People move and they don't update them. But things like years ago, you'd go into the shop and take your dog and leave it outside the shop. Just don't do it. Yeah. It's not worth the risk. And I don't know if you saw on the news yesterday, they've actually, so there's a traveller site near Ipswich that the police raided and they found 83 stolen dogs. So they're now trying to find where in the country they're from because they could be from absolutely everywhere. So at least that means 83 people might get their dogs back. But the amount that are going missing, and it's purely because of lockdown. Everyone's wanted a dog since last year. Prices of dogs have gone absolutely through the roof. And if people, you're always going to have the horrible people that will steal them because they can sell them for thousands.
Yeah, I know. And does this count for the non-pedigree dogs as well? Is it any kind of dog being stolen? Mainly the pedigree.
Yeah. And any kind of dog at the moment. Thing is, if it's pedigree and it's stolen, it hasn't got the papers, has it? So it's just worth a certain amount of money.
It's like having a Ferrari without the proper,
Yeah, but so cockapoos were going for like £700-800 at the beginning, and now you're looking at nearly £3,000 for a cockapoo.
Yeah, that's what we paid for ours, 800, and then like you say, they were up to like 3,000. And it wasn't too long ago we were walking our dog down South Shields, and there was a cockapoo like walking along the road, and no owners anywhere to be seen. And we're kind of like, look, you look around, don't you? And let's say, well, where's the owner? So, like, this dog's just randomly walking on its own. So we goes over to it, hello, mate, you all right, and all that jazz. Still no owners. We're shouting at people going, is this your dog? No, nowhere. So we walked around like the seafront for a good hour and a half with this dog. It was a little bit smelly, I've got to say, like this cockapoo. But it was like no owners anywhere. But luckily, like you say, because they chipped, we went to Vets for Pets and they scanned it, and the owners, they got in touch with the owners. They came along and reclaimed.
You could have been anyone. You could have put that dog in the back of a van and just gone and sold it off and made thousands.
I know.
It's
That was,
mental.
I couldn't believe it, because like all of these stories that were going around, like recently about dogs being abducted, and there's this dog just going around, like, you know, could have easily fallen into the wrong hands kind of thing. It was called, what was it called again? Jarvis Cocker. That's what its name was. They called it Jarvis Cocker, right? It was so
like
cool.
that.
Yeah, I did as well. It was like, oh, that is a really good name. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, dogs are amazing, aren't they? You get so much joy from dogs. I mean, when I was growing up and little, we had like an Irish setter. Loved that dog. That was one stupid dog. You know what I mean? That dog was like crazy. But like, I never really thought we would go around to get a dog again. But we've had Bear for like 2 years now, and he's great. You know what I mean? You get lots of cuddles, lots of love. But he always looks sad. It doesn't matter what you give him, what treat you give him, or like, you know, his tail's wagging, but his eyes are always so sad. You know what I mean? But like, you can't help but love him. I love it when he goes totally on his back, his paws are up in the air, and you're rubbing his belly. Dogs are just fantastic, aren't they?
And if it wasn't for us getting a problem dog, I wouldn't be doing this career now. I'd literally be just taking whatever job I could to make ends meet after redundancy. But he's led to a career now because of his issues. So I've got him to be grateful for. Started
a business, a very successful business, and you're doing absolutely brilliant. Listen, I'll finish off with a question. Do you miss flying?
Every day, every single day. I miss the people, massively miss it. I'm working on my own now. I've got clients, but it's different. It's like passengers and crew. So, but now it's just me and passengers. So I miss the people massively a lot. I think I always will. When it's in your blood, it's in your blood.
You're right. I mean, it's like when I left flying for like Virgin 2009, I never thought I would miss it as much as what I did, really. It's always the people, isn't it? It's the people and the bonds and the friendships that you make in such a short space of time. I cannot shake this fella like on my left hand side. He's still sniffing around like.
I don't even know you are, Si. I just like the podcast and you popped up one day.
You look like a shaggy dog. Shoot your face. But like, you know, it's like the friendships and the bonds that you get off like your journey, like flying. They're amazing, aren't they? You know, and it's just so good. And like, I guess like not just crews, like given so many people as well, because there's almost 10,000 people. It's like all like-minded people in the group, and it's built up that community still. You know what I mean? And people can like reach out and support people, and you know, say well done to you kind of thing. You're doing brilliant, and seeing what you've been doing, and get inspiration and hope from what you're showing people, because it's a wonderful thing that you've done. You've had the guts to do something, you know, and you're smashing it. Like,
you're making me feel all warm and fuzzy.
Oh, I have that effect. I'm feeling warm and fuzzy, but I'm having something that you can't.
Me with my cup of tea.
Yeah, oh God. So anyway, Trev, would you like to finish off with any final comments, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's quite an amazing story. And hopefully, when all this has gone down, we'd love to come down and do some filming for our YouTube channel, on location, because these are the stories, as Simon said, what Not Just Crew was set up for. But no, amazing story. Have you got Instagram or any account where any of the sort of crew watching can contact you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is the Ipswich Dog Trainer. Facebook is also the Ipswich Dog Trainer. Simple as that. Yeah, so and if anyone wants to email me, my email address is info@theipswichdogtrainer.com. I've had
would you ever branch out to Norwich?
Ipswich and Norwich, no. There'd be too much conflict.
There'd be a lot of bother going on. Aye. Go on, sorry, you were saying.
No, I was just going to say, I've had crew contact me in the past that want to be dog trainers, asking what like route to take, and I've given them advice and stuff. So if anyone wants to, not necessarily dog training, but just like how the hell to even start with things, happily take messages. It's absolutely fine. So if I can help someone, even just one person that went in blind completely like me, and just make their life a little bit easier, I'm happy to do that.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much. Listen, Leanne, it's so wonderful to have you on the show. It's an absolute pleasure to see you, and well done. Like, long may you have way more success than what you're already having. I'm sure you're probably thinking, oh God Almighty, I'm knackered already. You know what I mean? But like, listen, look, just keep pushing forward. Get some people in to help you out and have an empire. Branch out to Norwich, whatever you.
Great yarn.
Go on, upset them. Yeah, get them there. But yeah, listen, thank you so much. You've been an absolutely wonderful guest. It's been brilliant to see you. So yeah, like next week, Trev, I love doing this to Trev. Next week, Trevor, who do we have on the show?
Not you. From what I understand, you're not going to be here. You're off to do missionary work actually in Norwich as a special program for us. So I'd like to say that next week we have a live without Simon. That itself should be cause for celebration.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well done. Take care, guys. Have a great week and be safe.
Cheers.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.